Pook. So long story short, on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, I will officially be a published author for an entire year because that's when my debut, Better Luck Next Time, came out. And I just want to like take everyone along and see what I've done, what I learned, what I'm going to do next, all of the above as an indie author. And yeah, what is so weird is that apparently on September 25th, 2022, I was like, Better Luck Next Time will be out on October 23rd, 2023. So what's funny is that You Didn't Tell, the novella, then came out 2 years from when I said my debut would come out on September 25th, 2024. So yeah, in my first year of authoring, I published my debut, Better Luck Next Time, her company novella, Coming Up Dana, and then You Didn't Tell. So I technically have 3 published works, all in my first year of publishing. That was not the plan because like I said, I can't write like that. But with Coming Up Dana, I just knew that I needed Mrs. Morgan's POV. And then with You Didn't Tell, I was trying to write other whips, but it kept turning out to be You Didn't Tell. So I was like, okay, let me just do You Didn't Tell so that we may move on. And move on we shall after the history. So my debut novel, Better Luck Next Time, came out on October 23rd, 2023. It was a Monday. It was like one of the greatest days of my life because everyone was like, I purchased it. I'm so proud of you, da da da. And I'm just like, it was like a total outer body experience. Premiere day, total outer body experience because I just feel like I wasn't ready technically for the premiere because publishing through KDP, they give you like 3 to 5 days to get the final manuscript up. And like my manuscript was done, but there's no perfect manuscript. So I'm up here changing commas, changing thesaurus words. Like it was, I hope not to do that in the future because like the manuscript is done as it ever could be. And what I hope to do next time with manuscripting, because I didn't do that for Coming Up Dana, nor You Didn't Tell, is be done with the manuscript and upload it like 2 to 3 months before the premiere date. So I can just sit back, relax, order my author copies, and like have everything in advance because I didn't even have my book before the premiere like some authors do, which I think is smart. Because I was still editing, changing commas, quotations, freaking semicolons. So yeah, next time we're going to try to get it uploaded as soon as possible, or like even sooner than possible, because yeah, as an author, I think, as Taylor J. Bridgeforth author, I want my author copies before the premiere date. So after Better Luck Next Time was out, about a month later, I had my premiere release party, and it was one of the coolest things of my entire life because I feel like I invited people, but I didn't ask for RSVPs. And then Indie Reads was also inviting people like through their website. So like it was open to the public, so I didn't have any clue on who would show up. But I was blown away by any and everyone who came to support me. It was just so much fun, and I was like, it was just one of the best days. And then I was at Indie Reads, and Gia was introducing me and asking me questions, and now she's like one of my favorite people in the world. So I love that for the both of us. So it's just like about the book and writing community. 9 times out of 10 you find new people to like share your successes with, or just like become a part of your team of sorts. So I just didn't know how big my team was until my premiere, and I just feel like my village of sorts is growing day by day, because as an indie author, I feel like you just have to put yourself out there. Well, excuse me, as Taylor J. Bridgeforth, as an indie author, I have to put myself out there because I'm not great at all. I'm not great at marketing. I have other things to do, y'all. And like, to talk about the same thing that I've been working on all this time, I'm like, I got to go. I got to move on. So for me as an indie author, I am like all over Indianapolis, going wherever an independent bookstore will take me. So that was my first couple 6, 7, 8 months, is just going to indie bookstores if they will allow me, and setting up shop, being there, and what's the word? Representing my book, promoting my book. But eventually, like, I don't know, all of a sudden book conventions are all over the world, the country. So I have been applying to those, and yeah, there's just like no holds barred. I don't care where you want me to go. As long as the dates are available, I will apply. So that will be coming up soon, but we're not there yet. So I'm looking at my calendar from like the last year to like remind myself where I've been and what I've done. And like half the things I don't even know what this was, like a sissy date. I don't have a sister. I love all of my friends as if they're family, but I'm not sure who this specific sissy was. And then December 30th is Steph Day. What does that mean? Okay, we're just gonna keep going. In the new year, I forget how this happened, but I got a mentee. And God bless her, she's just the cutest little thing, and I wish her everything. But she like reached out to me on Instagram, and she was like, hey, need an MT for this school's MT mentor for this school semester. Are you interested? And I'm just like, huh? I thought it was spam. I thought I was going to get scammed in some way, shape, or form, but I was like very flattered by the message. So I was like, let's risk it. So we set up a Zoom, and she's just one of the cutest little things of all time. She's literally great. And I think about her story all the time. I'm like, oh, who wrote that? Where was it? Just like how I felt with my mystery. But it's hers, and yeah, I'm just like, where are we at with that? Let's keep it going. Da, da, da. But she's like already way smarter than I was at 16, because she's like, yeah, I know, not all writers is a sustainable career, da da da. Like, I didn't know that. When I was coming up in the publishing world or the writing world, it just seemed like any and everyone got published. So I was like, well, of course they'll accept me, and they didn't. And I'm like, excuse me? So yeah, she's already knowing that she may have to go indie. She will have to have a separate career, da da. But that's another thing about other indie authors that I've met. I was like, oh, did you query at all? And they're like, no, I went straight to indie publishing. And I'm like, I wish I did that, because querying for an agent was one of the most heart-wrenching things of all time. And I just do not think that is something that I will ever pursue again. I know that sometimes agents or publishers like will see something on like Book Talk or Bookstagram, and they reach out that way. I don't know. Not saying that they will, but the way my hopes and dreams were shattered during the querying process, I just know I won't put myself in that position again. And yeah, we're just going to keep on keeping on the indie way. I also just want to give a huge shout out to like the readers of Indianapolis, because I'll be at my little events at my books at the independent bookstores, and they, as soon as I'm like, oh yes, I'm a local author, they're like, here's my money. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet, because they don't really know what my book is about, but they want to support a local author, which really, really, really makes my heart swell, because yeah, money and whatever. But also read the book and review it. But thank you entirely for your money. Yes. So in a perfect world, I wanted to have one event a month, like November, December, from like November to October, because I didn't have anything in October. And I was doing really, really well. November was indie reads. December was turn the page. January was Tomorrow Bookstore, where Jordan Klepper came in, and I was like, hey dude, get my book. And he did. Lord knows what he did with it. But hey, Jordan Klepper bought my book. February, I was at Loudmouth. And then March, I was at Curious Squirrel. I fell off in April, picked back up in May, and then fell off again until September. No? Was it September? It was not September. It was August. I had 2 events in August. Another one at Indie Reads, which Indie Reads will just be the best place to always promote myself because they were my first. And then I was invited to it's not even a bookstore, but just like a store, a fun little store in Michigan. So it was like my first store out of the state. So that was really fun for me. So yes, August, on to September. Yeah, came back in September at the Whispering Shelf. And I had every intention of keeping up the pace. Something happened in April. It was indie April, whatever. And then June, July, August. Well, I had a June, but then they were like, you have to pay us. And I was like, but I don't have money. What? So I was like, no, bro. And then, yeah, July came and gone. August came and gone. And then Lena was like, hey girl, come to the Whispering Shelf. And I was like, on my way. So then, yes, I picked up in September at the Whispering Shelf. And then in October, I was at the Meet an Author, Be an Author event at the Central Library, where the library puts on sessions, different writing sessions. And then there's like a book fair where I was at and set up, and I loved it because I've been to that event the last 2 years as like an MT. Do I think I'm going to become an EMT or something? I went to Meet an Author, Be an Author for the last 2 years to like do their little workshop sessions and everything. And then I came out with my book and I was like, will I get it? And I did. And I had my little booth set up and Nick was with me and I saw some other independent author friends, and it was just a full circle moment. And I think that makes up for all the other months that I missed, because that just made me feel good and part of the community and get to meet new authors. I got a new book by Lizette Blythe. I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. And I'm really excited because the cover called to me, and I love when a cover calls to me because it's like, we are one. We're going to get into this. So I can't wait to get into that soon. But all in all, with my year being out there and about, I loved every moment of it. I definitely feel like I come off better face to face than online, because online I feel like I'm like begging, which I am, for like attention and sales, but face to face it's more of a conversation. I'm like, oh, what do you read? Do you also write? Are you on Goodreads? What's your bookstagram? Like, I like to build connections, and I feel like it's hard online. I say it's hard online because if you invite me into your DMs, I will come, because like I'll read a book and they're like, oh my God, hit me up on Instagram, where I love to talk to my readers. And I'm like, here I come. And with writers who say that, they're like, girl, I began blocked. And I'm just like, what? Because 9 times out of 10, I'm like, hey, I'm Taylor. Yes, I'm an author as well, but I read your book and want to promote you on my podcast. I just read this book, the podcast. And Lord knows how that comes off, but I will write that to other indie authors. And sometimes I will wake up blocked. And I'm just like, oh, okay. But other times, sometimes with like book people, like bookstagram people, they're very, hey girl, what's up? Let's collaborate. So yeah, that's been a challenge in my year because I'm an indie author, so I want to support other indie authors. But I guess they're like, I don't need you. And I'm like, okay. But like I said, that is not all the time. That is just sometimes. And for whatever reason, people like the bad is heavier than the good for whatever reason. But the people that I have met and the authors that I have met and are nice to me, thank you. And I can't wait to see you at all the book conventions that we just apply to, whether we are qualified or not, i.e. me. I think the only one that has announced me as an author is the Wisconsin one. So I'll be in Wisconsin in September. But I also got accepted to another one. And they took my money, so put me on. And I think I got accepted to another one. But yes, long story short, I love writing and reading and traveling. So yeah, if I can do all of those at once, put me on. So I have no money. And like with services, everyone wants to charge, which I totally get. I don't believe in free labor. I just can't afford it. And one of the things I feel like as an indie author, you need to do really well or pay really well is marketing, because yeah, like that's how you get out there. This, that, and the other. Like I said, I am not great at that. I'm thinking of ways to do better. I don't think that will ever be my strong suit, so I'm gonna just accept it for what it is. But as an indie author, if you can figure out marketing, I would say before you start, learn the marketing ways of life ASAP. I have a friend, she's a social media manager. I'm like, okay, so what should I do? She said reels and carousels. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I mainly do that. But then again, if everyone's doing that, it's like, how do I stand out? That's like my main thing with the whole internet. Like there's traditionally published authors that come out 2-3 times a year. There's indie authors that come out 2-3 times a year. There's me that comes out technically 2-3 times a year, but that was by the seat of my pants. That's not something that I plan to do. So yeah, it's just a lot of people, and I sometimes, all the time, I feel like I'm like, hi, can you see me? Am I there? Am I noticeable in some way, shape, or form? But I just like to stay in my lane, and sometimes I get overwhelmed by everyone else's success, and I'm like, okay, gotta put on my blinders and just know that this is my lane, my journey. Congrats to them, but I can't get caught up with what they have done to prove what I should do or something. You get what I'm saying. Moral of the story, blinders. There's many of us. We all want to succeed in various ways. So I'm just like, I just need to stay in my lane. I'm always rooting for everyone, but my lane. No shade, my lane. So I think moving forward, I will just continue making connections with people who want to connect. Because the people that I do connect with, I'm like, oh my gosh, are we not best friends? And yeah, I just love that for them and us. I think the connections and going to events is something that I would continue. Oh, well, something that I will continue. Yeah, like that's a no-brainer. Yeah, I really want to make more connections and just like have a beautiful little life filled with creativity. I'm in a few reading groups. One is online, one is in the city, and then the ABCs, we are in various parts of the country, but we meet up once a year. So, if I had any advice as an indie author to a writer, first and foremost, indie author to a writer, I want to write, I want to publish, but insert whatever here. I really hate that I'm saying this because I never believed in it until this year when I was like struggling to write. It's just right. You can't edit a blank page. So literally just get the words down and then you can move on from there. Get the gist to get the mist. And then any advice from an indie author to a coming up indie author. I just believe in the connections that you make. I was at the Meet an Author, Be an Author event, and there were a lot of authors or writers and authors that came up to me and they're like, do you have a community? And I'm like, yes, do you? And they're like, no. And I'm like, come on. Yeah. And there were a lot of people who told me about their goals and aspirations in writing. And I'm like, you got this. Call me if you need me, but you got this. Like, it all starts with a dream. So long story short, LOL, let me tell you this. I had a dream where I was like, oh my God, in my first year of authoring, I want to make $5,000. I know that's a chump change to some people. It ain't to me, but I have not made the goal yet. Technically, I have 3 days. Y'all can just spam me with orders. But nope, didn't make half. But I am proud of my little, I think like 15, 18. Like when I broke 1,000, I was like, oh. So yeah, I'm proud for what I got, where I am, and where I'm going. And where I'm going is into NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, and I will be working on a mystery duology. And I'm so excited because I don't think I told the Pookie website, but this manuscript specifically, I queried it, got rejected, and I thought I was worthless, so I like gave up. And then I was reading and I was like, oh my God, where's that book? I want to reread it. And it turns out it's the book that I wrote. So that's very important as well. People are like, what do they say? Do they say write for yourself or something? Lord knows. But the moral of the story, if I'm looking for it, someone else could too. And people always ask me, they're like, oh, why did you write Better Luck Next Time? And I say, that was the book I needed when I was in high school. So yeah. And like sometimes I'm like selling it to people and I tell them like the premise and they're like, I remember that. So then they're like, oh, ha ha ha, like whatever. So NaNoWriMo is coming up. I will be writing like it ain't nobody's business, but I don't know if I don't believe in the 50,000 words in a month. Eat me. So I'm gonna just write and see where I get and keep on keeping on for the first and then the due to get to you in 2026. So that is where I'm at. If you're like, oh, Taylor, where are you at with your books to read in 20 books to read in 1 month? Behind.